All right, what's going on? What's going on? We're in Monaco. It's race week, Monaco race week, and gonna take the baby out. Kept her under wraps for quite a few years, but now I can drive it openly without any conflict, so to speak. McLaren, full McLaren. And we're gonna, it's a street circuit, as most of the world knows, so it's open all the time and we can get on the track and drive it, and I'm just gonna talk through some highs, some lows, some interesting corners, some places to look out for, but we gotta get out on the track and warm the girl up. All right, start, finish straight. All right, so we're currently on P2, second place on the grid. It's not as good as first, been there a couple times, you know, just saying. Y'all must have forgot. All right, just letting someone by. I'm very nice when I'm not in race mode. So after turn one, we're at we zigzag up the hill. I remember the first time I came here and I was like, dude, on TV, it doesn't even look like a hill. It just looks like a straight up kind of S, flat out, easy. The incline is pretty real, I won't lie. So that's where TV doesn't do it justice. So where we're actually stopped now is on the entry of turn 3. So we got the casino in front of us, and this is quite an awesome entry because you come up, as I was describing, such a steep hill. And as you come up into braking, it's super, the car gets light and it's also quite blind where you get into braking. So it's quite to push yourself to brake later and later. This corner's pretty, yeah, takes a little bit of courage. Takes a few laps to get it right, that's for sure. So we're in the casino now. There is sports cars everywhere. I'm most certainly not alone when it comes to these streets. Basically, every supercar you can imagine is pretty much always here. So now we are going down into basically a corner, like a hairpin downhill, where always the way the corner dips at the apex, your front wheel gets up off the air. So it's always a cool shot. And you feel it in the car where the front just goes light, and to see the corner, to see the F1 cars three-wheeling is cool. All right, Mirabeau hairpin. So that is the tightest corner in the world, basically, for F1. It's ridiculous. We have to change the steering ratio for that corner. All right, so we've got now, I believe, turn 8, and now this is where we get into the tunnel. So the famous tunnel. As a kid watching F1, you see these cars scream through this tunnel, and you're like, how is there a tunnel on a racetrack? It doesn't, I don't know, it was just a crazy image to have in your head. And what makes the tunnel really cool is that it's flat out. There is a proper corner in the tunnel, right-hander, but just the grip that we have in F1, we can take it flat. And it's always a little test for yourself, what gets you up to speed really quick when you get here is first lap, because you know that it's flat, but you're well, the tires are still maybe a little bit shiny, the track's still dirty. But you're all right, I'm gonna go out the pits, FP1, first practice, and take the tunnel flat. And that's a little test I have with myself. And it just kind of sets me up for things to come. If I put it in the wall in the tunnel on the first lap, I've tried to take it flat and I've been unsuccessful. We are actually in my favorite section of the track, and this is to back. So turn 12, and then it goes into the swimming pool, 13 and 14. And to back is I still want to say it's probably the ballsiest corner on the track, because you enter pretty quick. I think you enter sometimes in 6th, and you downshift to either 5th or 4th. So it's still probably close to a 200 km/h corner, but you're trying to basically kiss the barrier on the entry, and on the exit, you're at some point in the weekend, you're kissing that barrier. Long story short, turn 12, it's all about commitment and how willing you are to get to that apex and then also to that exit, and just to open up then the line for the swimming pool, which should be flat in qualifying, but questionable. So we got all the grandstands here. So this is actually my favorite part of the track as well for the fans. Like the biggest stands are around this swimming pool area. So the times that I've had a good race here on like the cool down lap at the end of the race, that's where you kind of hang out the car and give it a few fist pumps. We're going to take the curb now, a little rumble. All right, so we're going into Rascasse now, and Rascasse is tight. It's kind of like a double apex, and every time you get out of that corner and you kind of like tense, because you can't really see if the rear is going to hit the barrier, like the way the corner is and the trajectory. You've basically got to just trust that the car's going to track the corner. But every time, like, you feel like the rear is going to clip the wall, and it's one of those corners. How much do you dare to play with the limits, I guess. But that's what Monaco is like. That's what we love about Monaco, is it rewards the daring. It rewards those with just mass confidence, and yeah, it's a good time. It's the one track actually where, I mean, you're definitely fried after the race. Like mentally, your brain is just done. But it's also a track where you notice like your hands can tighten up, because you just don't get that chance to like loosen your grip on the wheel at all, if you know, pretty much. So the one thing that we don't get on race weekend is this. Well, actually we do. I was about to say traffic. We do get traffic. It's actually the hardest place for us to get a clear lap in qualifying, because there's traffic. You know, it's tight. Every car wants a good gap to get a clean run, and you end up running into someone at some point. But now when the streets are open, obviously we're dealing with the most traffic we'll ever have to deal with. One thing Monaco do really well is they always resurface the track. And I think they have to, because it's used so frequently every day of the year. But it's always like, it's naturally bumpy because it's a street circuit, but the asphalt they use is really like, it's a nice, what do I say? Like, it's just a nice type of bitumen. It's really smooth, and it does offer really nice grip once the track gets like rubbered in over the weekend. So yeah, first session's always slippery, and yeah, for sure kind of scary, because it is the probably scariest track on the calendar. But yeah, once you get rubbered in and get a few laps under your belt, damn, it's beautiful. Just giving it a little hey, how are ya? The yachts. Where do you start? So as we come out of the tunnel, this is where the main harbour is in Monaco. You get the most ridiculous yachts in the world here, especially on race week. It becomes normal to see like a helipad and a jacuzzi on the back of a yacht. You're just like, oh, it's kind of normal now. It's wild. Oh man, just a few more days, and we are good to go. I cannot explain or describe the feeling that I get when I drive in Monaco. All right. It's warm in there. All right, there you have it. That is the track behind us. Hopefully it gave you a bit of an insight what it's like around here. I'm out of breath just thinking about driving here in a few days' time. It's so exciting. It's everything that I love about F1, and yeah, just gonna make it happen. So until a few days' time, see you later.